Hi, my name is Grace. I'm going to be talking about Carpenter Series, but I think the overall thing I learned from this was the difference between not just hearing, but doing and taking action on it. And I don't think there's been a single lesson where I didn't actually put that faith into action. But today I'm just going to share snippets of that. Starting with the first lesson, salvation. One thing that really stood out to me in this lesson was where people looked on and they said, "What, not who is that upon the tree?" And that hit me hard. I remember weeping over that. And if you don't know my testimony, pre-Jesus, I used to struggle a lot with depression, anxiety, fear, suicidal thoughts on a daily basis. And God completely turned my life around. But that one thing really hit me hard because up until that point, I thought Jesus had just paid for depression and anxiety. And I used to, at that point in my life, struggle with my identity. I used to struggle with not being seen or wanted. I used to think of myself more as a what, not a who. And when I read that, I realized that Jesus paid. He became my what so I could take on his who. He took on my appearance so he could give me his name. And that really changed the identity I had in myself. I knew it in here, but I didn't fully know it in here until that point. And I found my true identity in his blood. And as I was repenting, that prepared the way for the second lesson, which was on repentance. And I remember praying about it, and God just said, "You can't expect to walk on water with one hand on a sinking boat." And up until that point, I was like, oh, I guess there is some sense of self-righteousness, some pride, I didn't fully claim everything that God had for me up until that point. And I just remember saying, "Lord, take away all of this. Take away my fear of failure." I didn't want to fail by not being willing to try, but I was scared to try up until that point. And Jesus really took that away. He opened the door for the rest of the things. And there's so many other things that God taught me through Carpenter Series, but two main things that stuck with me was that forgiveness comes with repentance and that humility is an opportunity for relationship with him. All praise to God.